wore shorts to a business meeting in Singapore, and my colleagues looked physically pained, like I'd shown up naked. Meanwhile, my Canadian friend wore jeans to a Parisian dinner party, and the host literally reassigned his seat to a different room. Same casual approach, completely opposite levels of fashion offence.
Okay, tell me about Singapore. Shorts at a business meeting?
This was early in my career. I'd just transferred from London to our Singapore office. It was absolutely sweltering outside, like walking through hot soup.
Singapore humidity is no joke.
Right, so I thought I'll wear smart shorts, business casual, paired with a nice shirt, dress shoes, look perfectly presentable by my standards.
And your colleagues?
The moment I walked into the conference room, conversation stopped. Everyone just stared. My manager, Singaporean guy, always very polite, looked like he'd witnessed a crime.
What did he do?
After the meeting, he pulled me aside very gently and said, "Matthew, in Singapore, we don't wear shorts to the office, even in heat. It's not professional."
So shorts equals casual, regardless of styling?
Completely casual. Doesn't matter if they're tailored or paired with dress shoes. Shorts equals weekend. Office equals long trousers, no exceptions.
Even when it's 95 degrees with 100% humidity?
Even then, Singaporeans dress formally for work. Suits, ties in some offices. The heat is irrelevant to the dress code.
Nothing says, I'm a professional, like sweating through your suit in tropical weather.
That's precisely their attitude. Suffering for professionalism is worth it.
Did you change after that?
Immediately. I went out that afternoon and bought 3 pairs of lightweight dress trousers. Never wore shorts to the office again.
Quick pause before Matthew's fashion trauma continues. Huge thanks for all the topic suggestions. You've been brilliant. Keep them coming. What cultural mystery should we explore next?
Drop it in the comments. We promise to wear appropriate attire while reading them.
Unlike some people in Singapore.
I learned.
Okay, now I need to hear about this French dinner party disaster. Your Canadian friend?
Oh, this is painful.
Tell me everything.
So my friend Jake, lovely guy, Canadian, very laid back, was visiting Paris. His colleague invited him to a dinner party at her apartment. Casual invitation. Come over for dinner around 8.
Sounds nice.
Jake shows up in nice jeans, a button-down shirt, clean sneakers, what he'd wear to any dinner party in Toronto. Perfectly acceptable, casual nice.
But not in Paris.
Not even close. The host opens the door and her face just forms. She looks him up and down, very obviously, very judgmentally, and says in this icy tone, "Oh, you're here."
That's so rude.
Gets worse. She brings him inside and everyone else is in dresses, blazers, proper shoes. He's the only person in jeans and sneakers.
Poor Jake.
The host literally seats him at the far end of the table, away from the important guests. And throughout dinner, she keeps making these pointed comments about standards and effort.
She's openly criticizing him at her own party?
Very French passive aggression. Some people understand that dinner is an occasion to dress properly while looking directly at him. But I suppose not everyone was raised to appreciate these things.
That's not passive aggressive, that's just aggressive.
It was brutal. Jake told me later he felt about 3 inches tall. He'd thought jeans were fine for a casual dinner party.
They should be fine for a casual dinner party.
Not in France. French people dress up for everything. Dinner party, gallery opening, drinks with friends. They're putting thought and effort into their appearance.
And judging everyone who doesn't meet their arbitrary fashion standards. How delightful.
To be fair, from the French perspective, showing up underdressed is disrespectful. It says you didn't care enough to make an effort.
Right, because the only way to show respect is through expensive clothing choices. That's definitely not classist or pretentious at all.
I'm not defending it, just explaining it.
What should he have worn?
At minimum, dark trousers, leather shoes, a nice shirt or sweater, ideally a blazer, and absolutely no sneakers unless they're designer and you're under 25.
That's so specific.
French fashion has rules. Unwritten, but everyone knows them. Breaking them gets you judged mercilessly.
By snobbish people at dinner parties.
Precisely.
What about other cultures? How do they handle dress codes?
It varies wildly. Americans are much more casual overall.
We value comfort and practicality.
You value wearing pajamas to the grocery store.
That's California, not all of America.
New Yorkers wear athleisure everywhere. Fashion is expensive gym clothes.
At least we're not terrorizing guests over their jeans. Looking at you, France.
What about Canadian dress codes? Jake got destroyed in Paris. But what's normal in Canada?
Canadians are gloriously casual.
How casual?
Americans think they're casual, but Canadians take it further. Jeans and a nice-ish shirt are acceptable basically everywhere except the fanciest restaurants or formal events.
Even in professional settings.
Tech companies especially. Hoodies and jeans are totally normal. Even more traditional offices are pretty relaxed compared to European standards.
So Jake's outfit would have been fine at home.
Totally fine. Maybe even slightly dressed up for a casual dinner party. He wasn't being disrespectful. He was just being Canadian. But the French decided his cultural norms were wrong because they worship at the altar of fashion. Cool, cool, cool.
You're really holding on to this French thing.
I just think it's interesting that some cultures use clothing as a weapon to make people feel small. Very classy.
Fair point. You know what's funny? After Jake's Paris disaster, he swore off Europe entirely. Ended up taking a job in Istanbul instead.
From one extreme to another.
Right? But he told me Turkey was actually such a relief after France. The dress culture there is so much more relaxed.
Really? I'd expect it to be conservative.
That's what he thought too. But Istanbul especially is this incredible mix. He said he'd see women in full hijab walking next to women in short skirts and heels, all completely normal and accepted.
That much variation?
Turkey is officially secular, so there's no legal dress code. But there's cultural and religious influence, so people navigate it based on their own values.
How did his workplace handle that?
His office was fairly conservative. Business attire, covered shoulders and knees for everyone. But he said it was about professionalism, not religion specifically.
So the religious part is personal choice.
Right. His colleague who wore hijab and his colleague who didn't were both in the same business attire. The religious expression was individual. The professional standard was workplace culture.
That actually sounds like a nice balance.
Jake said after the French fashion judgment, it was refreshing to be somewhere that had standards but wasn't using them as weapons to humiliate people.
Let's talk about footwear specifically, because I feel like shoes are where dress codes get really weird.
Oh, shoes are a whole category of judgment.
Tell me!
French people judge sneakers harshly, unless you're very young or very rich. British people have opinions about when sandals are acceptable, which is basically never for men in professional settings. What about other cultures?
In many Asian cultures, you're taking your shoes off constantly. Homes, temples, some restaurants. So the quality of your socks becomes surprisingly important.
Sock quality.
Exactly. You can't have holes or worn socks if everyone's going to see them. I learned this the hard way in Japan.
Embarrassing sock moment?
Wore socks with a small hole to a colleague's home. Spent the entire evening acutely aware that everyone could see my toe. Never again.
The shame.
It was mortifying. Now I keep emergency good socks in my bag when traveling in Asia.
I actually learned something really profound about dress codes from a friend in New Zealand. Aroha. She's Maori.
Tell me.
We were staying with her family, and before entering the marae, that's a traditional meeting ground, she explained we needed to remove our shoes.
For cleanliness?
That's what I assumed, but she explained it's much deeper than that. It's about respecting the sacredness of the space. The marae is spiritually significant, and removing shoes is part of honoring that.
So it's not about fashion or cleanliness. It's reverence.
Right, and I realised that's what I've been missing about all dress codes. They're not always about judgment or fashion. Sometimes they're about genuine cultural meaning and respect.
Though sometimes they're definitely about judgment.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at you, Paris dinner parties.
The French fashion police strike again.
But Araher's explanation helped me understand the difference. When dress codes are about respecting sacred spaces or cultural values, that's different from using clothes to make people feel inferior.
That's actually a really important distinction.
Speaking of religious and cultural respect, I had a colleague, Sarah, who transferred to our Dubai office last year. She got this whole briefing before she went about appropriate dress.
What were the rules?
Shoulders covered, knees covered. Nothing too tight or revealing, no low necklines. And that was just for the office. Public spaces were even stricter in some areas.
Modesty as respect.
Right, and Sarah was really thoughtful about it. She asked me and other colleagues who'd worked there for advice, bought a whole new work wardrobe, researched what was appropriate.
That's the right approach.
She told me later that once she adjusted, it was actually fine. Kind of nice not agonizing over outfit choices every morning. The parameters were clear.
Did she ever feel restricted?
She said the first month was challenging because she was so conscious of it. But eventually, it just became normal. And she appreciated that it was about cultural and religious values, not arbitrary fashion rules.
Though I bet tourists get it wrong constantly.
Oh, yeah. She said she'd see Western tourists in tank tops and shorts, getting stared at or asked to leave places. And the frustrating part was how defensive they'd get. It's hot. I can wear what I want.
Completely missing that it's not about them.
Right. It's not oppression to respect local cultural and religious norms when you're a guest. I feel like workplace dress code is evolving quickly right now. Getting more casual?
Thank God. Maybe eventually we can all just wear comfortable clothes and judge each other on actual competence.
The dream!
It is getting more casual in a lot of places. Tech companies led the way. Hoodies and jeans becoming acceptable, even for executives.
The Mark Zuckerberg effect.
Right! And during COVID, everyone got used to working from home in comfortable clothes. That's bled into office culture.
Are more traditional industries changing too?
Slowly. Banking, law, consulting, they're still pretty formal. But even there, you're seeing business casual more often. So the suit and tie might be dying?
Oh, try telling that to the French.
Right, because French people would rather die than lower their precious standards. God forbid they prioritize comfort over looking like they're attending the opera daily.
You're not letting this go.
I just think it's wild that we've collectively decided that arbitrary fabric choices determine someone's worth or respect level. It's all made up.
It is all made up. But so are all cultural norms. That doesn't make them less real in terms of social consequences.
I know. It's just annoying that something as basic as clothing becomes this tool for judgment and exclusion.
It is annoying, but that's also why understanding these codes matters. So people like Jake don't get humiliated for just existing in their normal clothes.
Fair point.
What's the actual advice here? How do you navigate dress codes across cultures?
Research before you go. Seriously. Google appropriate dress for country/context and read what comes up.
And when in doubt, err on the side of more formal. It's easier to dress down than to be underdressed and embarrassed.
Watch what locals wear. If you're in a new place, pay attention to how people dress in similar situations. And ask. If you're invited somewhere and unsure, it's totally fine to ask the host, "What should I wear?"
Most people appreciate the question rather than being offended by someone showing up inappropriately dressed.
What if you genuinely can't afford the expected dress code?
That's a real issue, and it's classist as hell.
It is! Dress codes often exclude people who can't afford certain clothes.
I think in those situations you do your best with what you have. Clean, neat, showing effort. That goes a long way.
And honestly, people who judge you harshly for not having expensive clothes are showing their own character, not yours.
Though that doesn't make it easier when you're the one being judged.
No, it doesn't. It sucks. And it's a systemic problem that needs addressing.
What about cultural dress versus Western dress? Should people have to code switch?
No. People should be able to wear cultural dress without professional consequences. The expectation that everyone conforms to Western business attire is colonial nonsense.
Though I understand why people do it. They're trying to avoid discrimination and advance their careers.
Which is the problem? The system shouldn't force that choice.
You're right, it shouldn't. But until it changes, individuals are stuck making that calculation.
Are there places doing it better?
Some companies are explicitly updating dress codes to be more inclusive. Professional attire instead of business formal, leaving room for cultural dress.
That's progress, at least.
It is. Slow progress, but progress.
Meanwhile, in France, they're still judging people's sneakers.
Can you let it go?
Never! The French fashion tyranny must be called out.
You're impossible.
Any final wisdom on navigating dress codes?
Remember that clothing is communication. What you wear sends signals, whether you intend them or not.
And those signals are interpreted differently in different cultures. Your casual nice is someone else's deeply offensive. So if you're traveling or working internationally, learn what your clothes are saying in that context.
And extend grace to people who get it wrong. They're probably not trying to be disrespectful. They just don't know the local code.
Though maybe extend less grace to people who humiliate guests at dinner parties for wearing jeans.
Fair.
I'm just saying, if your first instinct is to publicly shame someone for their outfit choices, rather than quietly helping them understand local norms, you're not protecting culture. You're just being an asshole.
A very French asshole.
Exactly. But seriously, clothing is cultural, and culture is arbitrary. What matters is understanding the context you're in and doing your best to navigate it respectfully.
And when you mess up, which everyone does, learn from it and adjust.
Like Matthew with his Singapore shorts.
I learned and grew.
Very slowly.
Better late than never. Thanks for joining us on the Etiquette Enigma. Remember, dress codes aren't universal. What's professional in one place is offensive in another. And what's casual in Canada is apparently a war crime in France. So before you travel or attend events in new places, maybe Google what to wear.
Unless you want to be Jake at the Paris dinner party, seated in the corner with the other fashion criminals, while being passive-aggressively insulted by people who think fabric choices determine human worth.
She's still not over it.
I'm never getting over it. The French fascism must be exposed.
There it is. See you next episode, where we'll probably discuss more ways to accidentally insult people.